Welcome to Ethiopia Today.
Unbelievable document against Ethiopia revealed. Are there TPLF Ethiopia insurgency training and support operations in Uganda? Covert operation has US or Egypt support operations coordinated between South Sudan, TPLF and Uganda. Planning began December 2021. A mystery document exposed. The document that follows below was provided to Scoop this week in plain text form. Scoop is an independent news website based in New Zealand reaching more than 500,000 readers a month. Scoop understands that the contents of the document are an open secret in political circles in Addis Ababa, and has determined that while its source is not known, and its contents cannot be verified, its release is in the public interest, given the seriousness of the implications of what it alleges. Scoop was provided the document via a usually reliable source. And on balance, it is currently our view that the document is a real intelligence report, though the source is unknown, says Scoop publisher Alistair Thompson. As mentioned above, Uganda's Minister of Defence and Foreign Affairs Vincent Bamulangaki Sempajia denied the core allegations in the report on May 13, 8 days after the document, or one similar, began to be discussed on YouTube and mentioned in Twitter on May 4. The report has only been tweeted twice, by the publication and the author. And this video reply tweet appears to be from a military officer. While there were a few initial reports and tweets from May 5 through May 15 when the official Ugandan denial was made on May 13, during a visit to Uganda by Ethiopia's Armed Forces Commander, Ethiopian Field Marshal of the Ethiopian National Defence Force Birhanu Jula, there has been little comment on it since and no mainstream media interest in the claims. Notably, there was no coverage of this denial that I can find in any media other than the Ugandan publication, says Alistair Thompson. Introduction and provenance. The document appears to be an intelligence report of some kind, original source unknown to Scoop. Based on the text, the purpose of the document appears to be to brief security officials about a security threat posed by from offensive military training operations being conducted in Uganda on behalf of the TPLF rebel government from the Tigray region of Ethiopia. Scoop received the document from a reliable source, albeit absent any explanation or context. As mentioned above, the document's revelations were the subject of YouTube reports from Zehabesha on May 4 and Sajid Nadeem on May 5, May 6 in his My Views on News show about the conflict in Ethiopia. Mr. Nadeem's description of what he read in the document suggests his document is similar to the one published in full here today. As the Zehabesha report is in Amharic, this commentary focuses on Mr. Nadeem's report. In his initial report on May 5, Mr. Nadeem said the document had been provided to government-aligned media. And it is true that Zehabesha appears to have good government sources. The publication is also known at times, like all the Ethiopia Tube shows, to post some speculative material. In a follow-up broadcast on May 6, Mr. Nadeem speculates that the document may have been the discussion of a delegation which was sent to visit South Sudan from Eritrea. He suggests in this broadcast that the ultimate source of the document could be Eritrean intelligence. There are indications in the text, some of which are redacted here, which point to the document being sent to a security organization to inform them about the operation that it details. These refer to possible lead information which could be pursued further. Importantly, as mentioned in the opening, the document appears to be an update of an earlier related report, the timing of which, like this one, is unknown and which could have been potentially at any time between December, when the alleged initial meetings took place, and early May. In this second version, 2 additional training camps have been identified in Uganda. Details about activities at those camps are incomplete, and it seems possible that there was also a follow-up briefing following this one. Note: this detailed introduction is intended to assist those trying to come to a conclusion about how seriously to take this report. The denial was unequivocal by the Ugandan government, but only reported on one Ugandan news outlet and only tweeted twice. Whilst there was a small amount of chatter on Twitter and YouTube, there was no real attempt made by any English media to look closely at the report as far as I am aware, Thompson continued. Thompson would also welcome any further information that others are aware of via Twitter on @AlfieCat. Finally, as part of the due diligence in preparing this report, the names and locations mentioned in the report were Googled to check they exist. And they do, he added. Some additional, redacted, verification information is available in the version received as plain text, from which it would be possible for official, security service recipients of the document to have made further inquiries. Additional context. The focus of the document is alleged military training operations conducted in support of the TPLF rebellion in Uganda and South Sudan under the command of Uganda's Commander of Land Forces General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the son of Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba studied at Sandhurst in the UK and Fort Leavenworth in the US. He also trained in Egypt. General Kainerugaba, also known as M7, is expected to succeed his father in the presidency after he steps down. Reports indicate this could happen in 2026. Among his many military responsibilities, General Kainerugaba the commander of Uganda's land forces, and in this role he is responsible for the command of several detachments of Ugandan UN peacekeepers. General Kainerugaba, when he was a young officer, he attended military training in Egypt, and while there developed a personal relationship with Egyptian President al-Sisi, who was at the time his commander. He has recently expressed his support for the TPLF rebels in Ethiopia publicly on Twitter, and has even claimed he is Tigrayan. The document details meetings between TPLF Tigrayan armed forces commanders and Ugandan force commanders in later 2021. So it is possible that the operations described here have been underway for some time. Inside Ethiopia, adjacent to the borders of South Sudan, there has been a significant upsurge in violence against civilians, first in Gambela region and more recently in West Wolaka, Oromia region. The upsurge in violence coincided with public disagreements between federal government of Ethiopia and rebellion TPLF about the location of planned peace talks. TPLF has questioned the role of the African Union, AU, and in recent days the government of Ethiopia has reaffirmed its commitment to an AU-led process. The TPLF has proposed talks under the auspices of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta to replace those planned by the AU, which seemed poised to begin in mid-June. This alternative process has been described by close TPLF associates as a US Nairobi-led process. With the disagreement between the two sides hardening, it appears that the talks are now in jeopardy. Summary of the Uganda document's central allegations. The document details arrangements for the training of 4,600 soldiers in 4 separate training facilities managed by Ugandan commanders. It names the commanders and states what kinds of training are conducted where, along with other operational details of the facilities. All military trainees are Tigrayan, and the document contains information related to their transportation and housing as well. A large number of personnel involved in the operation are named and their roles are described in some detail. A separate section details the operation in South Sudan, which borders southwest Ethiopia. These operations are described as being led by Ugandan Ambassador to South Sudan Brigadier Ronnie Balya with the help of Okul Kuk, the Director of Internal Security Bureau of South Sudan, who reports to South Sudan President Salva Kiir. Another small section says the operation is supported by the US and Egypt, in the US case saying that $200 million has been advanced towards it via the Office of President Yoweri Museveni. The final section describes interactions between TPLF's 2 most senior Tigrayan force commanders and their Ugandan counterparts, with details of 2 meetings in later 2021. The list of Ugandan generals and commanders assigned to the classified operations with the Tigrayan rebel forces. Hereunder is the list of the Ugandan generals and commanders assigned to the classified operations with the Tigrayan rebel forces with their respective assignments. 1. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is the overall of the Uganda operations with the Tigrayan rebel forces. 2. Brigadier Charity Bainababo. Brigadier Charity Bainababo is assigned to be the chief coordinator and movements of logistics and finances for the Tigrayan rebel forces. 3. Brigadier Ronnie Balya. Brigadier Ronnie Balya is the Ugandan ambassador to South Sudan. Brigadier Ronnie Balia is responsible for coordination of the Uganda Tigrayan rebel forces programs in South Sudan. 4. Michael Katungi Mpewe. Michael Katungi Mpewe, based in Addis Ababa, Addis Office at African Union, for intelligence gathering. 5. Colonel Charles. Colonel Charles is a British retired officer, operates with Michael Katungi Mpewe on intelligence and also responsible of planning of assassination of those allied to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. 6. Major General Don Nabassa. Major General Don Nabassa is currently the commander of the Uganda Military Police. Major General Don Nabassa is the backbone of all the earlier engagements of the Tigrayan when he was still in Somalia and used to coordinate all the trainings and technical planning and strategic deployment of the Tigrayan rebel forces, and he is assigned for the same up to now, based in Uganda. 7. Brigadier Keith Katungi. Brigadier Keith Katungi is now the head of the Uganda contingent in Somalia. 8. Keith Katungi. Keith Katungi coordinates the placement of key Tigrayan commanders for training in Uganda. Keith Katungi is responsible for senior Tigrayan rebel forces commanders training. 9. Noma. Noma, the Presidential Protection Officer in the State House. Noma coordinates the safety of senior Tigrayan rebel officers in Uganda, their safe entry to Uganda from Juba through Entebbe VIP section to avoid security checks and any suspicions of their presence in Uganda. She caters for their meeting arrangements with President Yoweri Museveni at Entebbe State House, and other executive-related programs between Yoweri Museveni and the senior Tigrayan rebel officer. 10. Brigadier Abel Kandiho. Brigadier Abel Kandiho was the head of the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence. Brigadier Abel Kandiho is now placed under the Police Force Special Command. Brigadier Abel Kandiho is responsible coordination with the Egyptian counterparts on the Tigrayan operations and facilitation from Egypt. Brigadier Abel Kandiho is also responsible to oversee and supervise the Tigrayan rebel forces being trained under cover of police, and those being placed in Somalia for the Tigrayan Operation Project and training some of them from Somalia. The responsible commanders of the training of Tigrayans at Kampala Kakiri. 11. Major Yusufu Bilali Katamba. 12. Brigadier General Joseph Muzok Semwanga. He is the Deputy Commander of the 1st Infantry Division. 13. Colonel James Rukundo. He is the Head of Operations at the Infantry Division. 14. Colonel James Rukundo, who gets instructions from Major Kashakamba, who was previously General Muhoozi Kainerugoba's aide. 15. Major Kashakamba. Major Kashakamba is in charge of finances and coordination movements of the Tigrayan infantry trainees from their arrival points, hotels, to Kakiri Infantry Division. This training program is supervised by General Leopard Kayanda. 16. General Leopard Kayanda. He is former Commander of Land Forces and now is currently Joint Chief of Staff UPDF. 17. James Karbarib. He was a former Minister of Defense, and now the current Senior Presidential Advisor on Security, is in charge of the Joint Training and Operations. James has been actually the in charge of joint training and operations of the forces deployed in Democratic Republic of Congo to disturb the country. The responsible commander for the training at Moroto. 18. Brigadier David Mugisha. 19. Colonel Juma Seko. He was the former political aide to General Salim Saleh, is the one in charge of welfare and transporting of the Tigrayan trainees attached to Moroto Barracks, the 3rd Infantry Division. He is responsible Ugandan commander for the Tigrayan rebel forces training at Nakasangola. 20. Major General Sabiti Muzi, who is also Yoweri Museveni's nephew. The Ugandan civilians are also involved in the operations, and details follow. The Ugandan civilians involved in the Tigrayan forces operations are: 1. Hajat Minsa Kabanda. Hajat Minsa Kabanda is a current minister in charge of Kampala, previously Residential City Commissioner for Kampala. Minsa Kabanda works together with engineer Katumba Muzamir and Walusanza Adir. 2. Engineer Katumba Muzamir. Engineer Katumba Muzamir is a son of Hajat Minsa Kabanda. Hajat Minsa Kabanda seconded to Yoweri Museveni that they are going to work together. Hajat Minsa Kabanda delegate Engineer Muzamir on the issues of the Tigrayans and is the only one she delegates on such issues. These civilians are given simple tasks, that is mainly to travel the Tigrayan from border posts into Uganda, where all these programs are coordinated. 3. Walusanza Adir. Another person revealed is Walusanza Adir, who was once an ADF that operates with Yoweri Museveni. Walusanza Adir gets orders from Hajat Minsa Kabanda and Brigadier Baungi, the Director of the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence, CMI, on the issues of the Tigrayan forces. The major role here for Brigadier Baungi, the Director of the Chieftaincy of Military Intelligence, CMI, is to provide security for the entrance of the Tigrayans during the time of traveling from border points to the destinations, and also at their destinations. Walusanza is the one who picks some of the Tigrayans coming to Uganda for training by road. He picks them up from different border points and takes them to the different arrival destinations, mostly hotels, where they are kept for some short period of time before posted to the different training centers. The allied countries to the Tigrayan rebel forces. The operations include 2 key countries on top of Ugandan army generals and civilians as follow. 1. The United States. United States is behind the Tigrayan rebel forces and had so far secretly extended $200 million through Yoweri Museveni to facilitate the Tigrayan rebel forces. 2. Egypt. Egypt is perfectly behind the Tigrayan rebel forces. Egypt, with General Sami Sabah, ECD Govey, who after a meeting with the Ugandan Brigadier Abel Kandiho granted the $28 million. Additional Tigrayan rebel forces training. The Google Maps show the locations of the 4 military training facilities in relation to Kampala, the capital of Uganda. 3 are a significant way away from the capital. The document describes a system to receive trainees in Kampala and then move them to one of the 4 facilities. It is confirmed the Tigrayan forces are training in Uganda. In the first report we had established 2 training centers, but now this report established other 2 additional training camps, that is Black T. Scoop report continues. Black T in Masaka. This place is located in Masaka, where the Kasajagawa military barracks is located, which is also responsible for training land forces, and all training facilitation of the Tigrayan rebel forces is provided for by Kasajagawa military barracks. And the second one is Nakasangola. Nakasangola is for training in specialized weaponry that includes artillery and production of weapons. So they are training at 4 different places. List of training places of Tigrayan rebel forces. 1. Kampala at Kakeri Military Barracks. Google Maps show Kakeri 1st Infantry Division in Wakiso district near Kampala. The responsible commanders of this training camp. 1. Major Yusufu Bailali Katamba. 2. Brigadier General Joseph Muzok Semwanga, the Deputy Commander of the 1st Infantry Division. 3. Colonel James Rukundo, the Head of Operations at the Infantry Division. 4. Colonel James Rukundo, who gets instructions from Major Kashakamba, who was previously General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's aide. 5. Major Kashakamba. Major Kashakamba is in charge of finances and coordination movements of the Tigrayan infantry trainees from their arrival points, hotels, to Kakeri Infantry Division. This training program is supervised by General Leopard Kayanda. Moroto Barracks is the 3rd Infantry Division of the UPDF. Moroto Military Barracks is the 2nd place where Tigrayan rebel forces are trained from in a number of specialized military areas. The program of Tigrayan rebel forces at Moroto is headed by Brigadier David Mugisha on the Uganda side. The responsible commanders for this training at Moroto. 1. Brigadier David Mugisha. 2. Colonel Juma Seko, who is the former political aide to General Salim Saleh, is the one in charge of welfare and transporting of the Tigrayan trainees attached to Moroto Barracks, the 3rd Infantry Division. The new arrivals of the trainees are received and put at Hotel Africana in Moroto for some days before taken to the training camp. The type of training. The type of training at Moroto is mainly tactical training, physical training, and technical training. The number of trainees in this camp is estimated between 900 personnel. Nakasangola. Nakasangola is another place where Tigrayan rebel forces are trained in a number of specialized military areas. The responsible Ugandan commander for the Tigrayan rebel forces training at Nakasangola is Major General Sabiti Musei, who is also Yoweri Museveni's nephew. Also here at Nakasangola, to avoid noise from the members of parliament and the general public who may question what is going on here, they have coded this training camp as training for peacekeepers of Amazon. Type of training conducted at this camp. At Nakasangola, the Tigrayan rebel forces are trained in tactical and technical training, in specialized military areas that include artillery, missile launchers, and armed vehicle commandos. The number of trainees is estimated between 600 personnel. All of the trainees arrive to Uganda by road, and on their arrival, they are allocated to different hotel facilities, particularly Oklahoma Extreme Hotel in Kampala, Oklahoma Club in Kampala City Center on Old Kampala, Fosika Guest House Kampala, Imperial Resort in Kampala, Milano Hotel in Muyenga Kampala, Hotel Barbados on Rubega Road in Kampala, Amosi Lodge and Marble, Ade Hotel Muyenga in Kampala, Kampala Club Hotel, and Hotel Africana in Moroto District in Karamoja. Black Tea in Masaka. This place is located in Masaka, where the Kasajagawa military barracks is located, which is also responsible for training land forces, and all training facilitation of the Tigrayan rebel forces is provided for by Kasajagawa military barracks. At Black Tea, the Tigrayan rebel forces are trained in tactical and technical training, in specialized military areas that include artillery, missile launchers, and commandos training. The number of trainees is estimated between 500 personnel. The responsible commanders on the training are yet to be established according to the report. The total number of Tigrayans training in Uganda is between 4,600 personnel. Major Kashakamba and Juma Seko are on the task of coordinating the accommodation of the Tigrayan forces' new entrant trainees in Uganda, who are allocated to different arrival points and hotels. One Ethiopian, who was given Ugandan nationality by the name of Semakula and who manages Kampala Club Hotel, is directly paid by State House for accommodation and related facilities for the Tigrayan trainees who are allocated to different arrival points and hotels. Coordination of the Uganda Tigrayan rebel forces programs in South Sudan. There are many issues being coordinated by the Uganda Tigrayan rebel forces programs in South Sudan. The chief coordinator of all programs and movements in South Sudan is the Ugandan ambassador to South Sudan in Juba, Brigadier Ronnie Balya. Brigadier Ronnie Balya works closely with Brigadier Charity Bainababo on the issues of Tigrayans that are conducted through South Sudan. Brigadier Ronnie Balya is the former Director of Internal Security Organization, ISO, of Uganda under President's office before being posted to South Sudan as Uganda's ambassador to South Sudan. Brigadier Ronnie Balya executes all programs conducted in Juba together with Okul Korkuk, the Director of Internal Security Bureau of South Sudan, who is Salva Kiir's spy chief. Brigadier Ronnie Balya, with the help of Okul Korkuk, the Director of Internal Security Bureau of South Sudan, coordinates all transfers of cash money, personnel and weaponry through South Sudan to the Tigrayan Ethiopia side, and mobility by providing protection of the cars for personnel, money and weaponry. Brigadier Ronnie Balya's appointment as Uganda's ambassador to South Sudan was Yoweri Museveni's ideal man to control the government and the President of South Sudan, Salva Kiir. Brigadier Ronnie Balya has done it well, and as for now the government and the President of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, is controlled by the hands of Yoweri Museveni. Coordinators on the TPLF side: Lieutenant General Zadikan Gebretensey and Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye. Lieutenant General Zadikan Gebretensey and Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye were in Uganda for a private meeting and attended to a meeting at State House Entebbe with President Yoweri Museveni, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Brigadier Charity Bainababo, Major General Don Nabassa. This meeting was on 21 September 2021. Senior Tigrayan rebel forces, TDF, went to Uganda and met with General Muhoozi Kainerugaba at the Special Forces Command headquarters at Entebbe. In that meeting, the main issues discussed were provision of weaponry, logistics and finances. After the meeting, Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye with the 6-member delegation were given $30 million in cash, which was on the 20th of November 2021. A few months later, early this year 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Charity Bainababo, who was Lieutenant Colonel and the commander of Presidential Protection Guard, PPG, was jumped and prompted to the rank of brigadier for her assignment as Chief Operations Coordinator with the Tigrayan Forces. At the same time, her promotion to Brigadier Charity Bainababo was appointed Commander of the Special Forces Command, SFC, which is the contingent Ugandan force responsible for the operations with the Tigrayan rebel forces. The reason of Brigadier Charity Bainababo's promotion was to enable her appointment as Commander of the Special Forces Command, SFC, that is responsible for operations with the Tigrayan forces, where Brigadier Charity Bainababo was given assignment as Chief Operations Coordinator with the Tigrayan forces. Lieutenant General Zadekan Gebretensey. Lieutenant General Zadekan Gebretensey was in Uganda in December 2021 with delegation of 3 other senior officers of the Tigrayan forces. Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye met with General Muhoozi Kainerugaba in Somalia, where they also met with their Somali allies delegation. This was on the 25th of December 2021. Lieutenant General Zadekan Gebretensey and Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye represent their leader Debretsion Gebremichael, whom it is said that he does not surface in Uganda openly. His presence is restricted to high confidentiality, but ever met with Yoweri Museveni in 2021, and they are in close communication. However, in most cases they communicate through Lieutenant General Zadekan Gebretensey and Lieutenant General Tadessa Wareda Tesfaye. This brings to the end of this very important intelligence report. Thanks for staying with us. Our viewers, we encourage you to post your views on this matter. Please also like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again. May Almighty God protect Ethiopia and its people from all obvious and hidden adversaries.